You're listening to On Fire Concerts Artist Interview of the Month series with your host, Ron Johnson. Hey folks, this is Ron with On Fire Concerts, and I am here today with a group that is the hottest group in country music, and we are honored to have you. Welcome, Chapel Hart.
Yes.
It's so easy. It's so easy to say. It just kind of comes out.
It's just amazing, and we were talking before. I am just honored to have y'all on here today, and everywhere you look to see Chapel Hart these days.
I have to say, it's kind of mind-blowing and kind of exciting to be able to like open your computer and the news for the day. One of the articles is these goofballs.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. I mean, I did just a little. I know a little of the history. I mean, I believe that. So, Danica, you went originally from Popularsville to New Orleans on your own, and then Trey haven't joined or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Actually, it was Tree who went first. I went down to New Orleans first,
Oh,
and
okay.
then were like, "You should sing," and I was like, "No, I don't sing," but Danica does, and it took about 2, maybe 3 years to convince her to come down. But I finally kidnapped her and brought her on down.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. It's I just and then your song "Made for Me" was just amazing. And but I mean, y'all grew up in Popularsville, Mississippi originally,
Uh-huh.
and tell us a little bit about how things materialized.
Well, we grew up in Poplarville, and it's crazy though, because "Made for Me" is the very first original song that we wrote or we put out as artists, and we were terrified to death that people just were like going to be like, "This is terrible, this is trash," and so, but it just was one of those things that like we it was the first time we sat down, we wrote down the things that were in our heart, and we said what we wanted to say, and we put the video up. We made a little video for it. And we put it up on YouTube, and it was up for maybe like a week or so. And it was just like we were so excited when like we were watching it. We were like, it's up to 500 views. Yes, we made it. And so somewhere, and it was like overnight, we woke up and this video had 10,000 views, and we were like, and this was like back in the olden days, like 2017. So,
The olden days.
and so we were like, oh my God, we went viral. And so it was Tree and I that first recorded, and then we recorded with Dev. And so, and now the new one has probably well past that, but it still shows that people see it and they get it. And that like people in small towns, one of the things that I always say is we still listen to country radio, you know what I mean? And it's like,
It's I was telling somebody the other day. I grew up in Memphis, as I was telling y'all, but we had a home in West Tennessee, also a little rural area. My dad and mom did, and everybody. My grandmother did. And I said, you made for me makes you think about growing up in a small town. You want to leave there, but at the same time, you're never really gone. Now I said my trouble with small towns were with me. If I forgot what I was doing, all I had to do was ask somebody. You know.
You got that right. Everybody knows everybody's business.
But I mean, we grow up, and as you get older, you think back to your hometown, and that, I mean, hometown is your hometown. It don't ever leave you. And but Made for Me made me think about it. You can't wait to get out of this place, and then but it's always your home.
it always circles back around though. Like you can go and see the world, but ain't nothing like coming home.
And it's
That
so
is
funny. I was gonna say, I think it's so funny how, growing up, we're always like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to leave. I can't wait to leave.
I'm getting out of
And then as soon as you leave, you're like, Jesus, this is terrible. I want to go back home.
It's like it's one of those things we grow up, we look back as we get older. I mean, I'm like 61, and I said, now I look back and I think of things I said when I was young about my mom and dad, and you think, well, maybe they weren't the most dumb people I've ever met.
Right, right. Maybe I didn't know everything at 20.
Maybe they knew a little bit more than I thought they did. But
Hey,
it's that curse your mom puts on you when you're young and said, "Wait till you grow up and have kids just like you."
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I've definitely found myself in those moments, especially with my daughter. She's like about to be a teenager. Sometimes I just call my mom and say, "You know what? I'm sorry," and hang up. It's just like she
What else
understands.
can you
uh,
say? But I was listening to a video you mentioned earlier, the Jesus and alcohol, and you had the Reverend in that.
oh,
I
Yeah.
mean,
oh,
what can you say about that? And we mentioned Deborah Allen earlier. I think was in that.
we also, yeah, also T. Graham Brown was in
He
there
was
as
in
well.
it.
Yeah, yeah. T is
So,
just T. Graham Brown is just a nut. I mean, that's all you can say about him.
We love him. Him and Deborah Allen, they are just
I
pure golden
cannot
to
wait.
us.
I told T. Graham, I cannot wait till the day that we can do a duet together. T. Graham, I told him, I don't care how old he gets, his voice is like
I'm gonna tell
butter.
you what. I work with T every year and have for years. Him and Sheila are just the greatest people,
Incredible.
and he's got a great band. And I mean, with T, it's like it's what you see is what you get, and he's that way every day.
Yeah,
But he does so much that people don't realize he does
yeah.
to help others. And in this, but T's just I tell everybody
He's
T's
a great guy
and
through and
but
through.
um I was going to ask you about another song, and then we're going to move on to where we're when you explode with Jolene, Jackie's song. Can you tell me anything about that? I heard that the other night, and I thought that's just an amazing song.
Listen, oh man. So when we tell you the story, then you have to go back and listen again. And it kind of I feel like it hits you different when you know the story. And but so we started out and we had a keyboard player. Guy played keys in the band. His name was Jake. And Jake's girlfriend was Jackie. And Jackie was about 4 foot nothing. And I'm telling you, she was but her personality was bigger than life. I told people we were doing a show one night, and I looked outside, and there was a guy, he had to be about 6'4". And I looked out and she had her hand just waving. I was like, I want that kind of courage, okay? Like she had no fear at all. And she was just one of the most lovable people. And she went down to work a music festival in South Louisiana, and their tent got struck by lightning, and she passed away at the age of 28. And it was just, and I always tell people, I don't know if we can take credit as writers of this song because, one day I was headed to rehearsal and I just felt like I could just feel her spirit kind of in the room. I was like, what do you want to say? If you had one last thing to say, what would you say? And I just kind of started just writing down the things, and I said, okay, I got a verse, a chorus. She was like, let's go. So we got verse two, and then like it was just like it was all the things, and I was like, what a memorial, because it wasn't sad. It was just it was very inspiring, and it was
But
just
it's like, have you ever heard of a song? It's a Kenny Chesney song, and it's called "Who You'd Be Today." And
yeah,
so the song, I'm gonna just real briefly. Well, my message from Jackie in '93, I lost a son. Well,
mhm,
you realize you see these certain songs that just hit you, and you think that song is a great song,
yeah,
and our son was an infant, and I said 5 days old, and I said, but and then I heard Kenny Chesney's "Who You'd Be Today." So 35 years later, you still think about that when and your
yeah.
song, I thought, man, that song can touch people, and I just
Uh,
wanted what the meaning was behind the song because that's weird how that works.
yes, 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 and even to this day, like even us, it was ultimately it was Jackie was the reason that like we started to really pursue music because I looked and said, if Jackie passed away at 28 and as much life as she had, like, it could be anybody. And I was like, if when we get to the end of our lives and careers, and even in careers, we want to be able to say we did it all and we went for everything. We left it all on the
You know,
table.
it
And
it's more like I was telling somebody about Loretta Lynn last night. I was talking about somebody, and I said, I'm 61, but I remember meeting Loretta when I was a kid, and I said, you know, and I had Mickey Gilley booked, for example, and then Mickey passed before our concert, and I've
Mhm.
worked with Mickey numerous times, and I said, these people, I'm 61, and I don't think about them dying because they've been here all my life, and we just assume they're going
Yeah,
to be here,
yeah,
and that their, of course, their impact is always going to be here, but you just assume that they'll always, I mean, Willie Nelson, he's going to be here till,
right.
yeah, but it
Well,
just,
there you go. He in the spirit today too.
oh yeah, Willie is just
That's really
amazing.
cool.
But so you when you got on AGT, that had to be an experience.
Oh my goodness. AGT was insane and crazy and exciting and pretty much all of the emotions put into one little TV show for us. We really, really enjoyed the experience. Going into it, we didn't really know what to expect.
Right.
But I think we took away so much from the experience that we will cherish and take with us for the rest of our lives.
Well, I think a show like that, um, and I'm trying to think, I wanted to relate it to, like Ralph Emery when Ralph was alive, and David Letterman and all these nice shows and all that. People say getting on there is a booster to your career that's unbelievable. Uh,
Yeah,
because of the viewership or the views that you're going to be seeing. And I'm thinking, and like I said earlier, now everywhere you look is Chapel Hart, and you know, if I pronounce it wrong, forgive me, but before Chapel Hart, it was Hyperfleet,
Hyperfly.
hyperfly.
Hyperfleet.
Yeah, it was very close. But we had a cover band that we were we were doing weddings and playing bars and clubs and that's why I said like it was so funny because even when we were Hyperfly, we were like we started kind of really being successful as a cover band, and we were like, if we're gonna change our name, it's got to be something good, and it's got to be something that we all 100% agree on. And so which is kind of how Chapel Heart came about. But we were out there just kind of stomping and making waves, and
And
you know,
oddly enough, we picked up a pretty good fan base in Philly because when they come down to play the Saints, they thought it was Hyper Philly, and so they were like Hyper
When
Philly,
I
and for
first
some
seen
reason we didn't have the heart to
when I
correct
first
them.
seen his name, I thought, how do you pronounce that? Hyperphilia, Hyperfly, Hyperflip. I
well,
said,
I'm telling you, as I said, praise the Lord, praise the Lord for a name change. It's like,
Telling people to follow us on social media was
um,
always a train wreck because they're like, now, how do you spell this?
we
And I'm
can't
like,
find y'all anywhere. We're like,
It's a
oh,
Y, but a PH and two Y's, and it's one word. You see their eyes just get big. They're like,
yeah.
I don't
it's
understand.
like when that would be sort of like when Skinner came out first and they spelled it Skymy. How do you
mm,
spell? But the that is. I thought the America's Got Talent, and I've seen that Go Buzzers. That's my extent of America's Got Talent. I mean, I know who's been in there on the past. I don't sit and watch it every week until Chapel Hart. And then you follow and you say, and I think I don't ever really root. I said, them, they're the ones that need to win this thing.
Oh my
um,
gosh.
And
It's
and
so
it was amazing.
it's so funny because like we never really watched any of those
right.
shows either because we spent so much time on the road going to shows and getting ready for shows.
Right.
And so whenever we had finally decided to do it, we were like, well, let's at least like get a cram session in to see how the show works. But that didn't even help because this season they did it completely different.
It
So
had a different format. So we were like, well,
Well, it was I've seen it and I thought there again as a promoter and being around music all the time, you just don't think about. I don't have time to watch it. I've got other thing, and uh, it just that the energy, I guess, is a word that y'all put off from the stage, and the fans enjoy it. That's obvious from your performance at the Opry. Um, And the other night, I was hoping so much I could come the other night to the Opry because and see, and I didn't get a chance to, but I just, I three standing ovations at the Opry on your first time.
Oh my gosh.
Run. Like,
Whew.
I always tell people, if you want to get me jacked up, all you got to do is say Opry, and I just get to going. But that first time at the Opry was absolutely, it was, I always say it like, I always say it was the dream come true. It was like nothing we could have ever imagined. And it was going there and being there and walking around to all the rooms, and all the artists are so friendly. It feels like home. Like if
Family.
you're going to visit family, like we
Yeah.
played with Vince Gill the other night, and he was literally the kindest person. And
And I feel like at this point, Jeannie Seeley is our other
all
crazy
right,
Oh my
aunt that
I'm
we
gonna
God.
didn't
tell you
know
what,
about.
Jenny is country soul. I mean, that's
hilarious.
when I've been fortunate enough as a non-performer, but I go backstage a lot at the Opry, or I'd say a lot, or some,
Yeah,
and you get treated like your family by Jenny and everybody back there, and they just say they may know me in passing, but they don't know me, but they treat you like your family, and I mean, I was back there with William Lee and the Goldens a while back, and Jenny and them are just, I just, you don't get no better than Jenny. She is the Opry, you know.
she
Yes.
is. She really is. It was funny though, because our manager was telling us, he was like, well, this is number two. Jeannie's been I think they recorded that she's been at the Opry like
About 5,000.
5,000, like
Times.
500 and something times. And so he was like, well, y'all at number two, you got 5,500. And so she came out around the corner. She was
I
like,
think
that's
her recent
right.
performance put her more than any other Opry artist,
Yes.
and just amazing that she's still going as she is. And I think Jenny would agree with this statement. I think that Chapel Hart is I'm bad about saying things and putting my foot in my mouth sometimes if people don't like, I don't really, it's my opinion, I
Yeah.
think Chapel Hart is the breath of fresh air that country music needed
Yeah.
Thank you
because
so much.
because
I love it.
traditional country music is, unfortunately is faded,
Yeah.
and you got a few people out there that, people tell me that the shows we do, like Gene Watson and all these older artists that I work with, and Mickey and everybody, and the Oaks and Ronnie Millsap we've had this year, and I said, you know, it's what I grew up on, and common sense says things got to change. I mean, you're going to evolve. You're going to bring in people. It's not the issue with the music per se. It's the issue with calling something country that's not.
Yes.
Yes, but
I mean, I like blues, jazz, everything. Call
Yeah.
it what it is. Don't call it something it's not.
and that's our thing. And I have to say, we've been saying for the last few years, we want to bring country music back to country radio.
That's it.
And the fact that it's the pillars of the country music industry, like Dolly reaching out, Loretta reaching out, Tanya, all these people who made country music what it is, see our music and recognize it for what it is, and getting behind us more gung ho than some of the younger
Yeah.
folks. It means that we're really
I
doing
tell them
it.
they can take them. You can take the new artists, and if they don't want to collaborate with us, that's fine. As long when the classics reach out and say,
The
hey, look,
giant.
so when they
Yeah.
say, look, you're doing a good job.
And what's funny is I know from starting out in this business many years ago. My dad and I guess I got my head dry from my dad, but my wife would tell people, "Ron don't know what no means because if you say no today, does that mean no tomorrow?" And I'm going to
Come
ask you again,
preach.
because
It's
we're
not
going
a
to keep
no, it's a
asking
not
you.
yet.
Not yet. We'll come back next week. You have to be persistent, and nothing's going. I was always taught that if you don't ask, you don't know, and if you don't try, well, you ain't never gonna do it.
Come-
So, but I just, we're just honored to have you, and country music is, ought to be everybody ought to be grateful for Chapel Hart. because you're bringing back the roots of country music,
Oh, look,
and
it means
that's
so
all.
much to us.
And but so what's up next for Chapel Hart?
Well, next we're gonna show up at the CMT Artist of the Year Awards next week, and then we have a whole bunch more shows. We're gonna be in South Carolina, we're gonna be in Greenville, Mississippi, then Natchez, Mississippi, and Texas, and
we're about to be all over the place.
Yeah.
after a while, we just hop in the van and we just wake up somewhere and
go.
Always
sing.
tell them,
Wake
dress
up.
me nice and tell me where I'm at. Put me on the stage.
Somebody just says, just here where you need to be here at this time, and that's where
There
you're.
you go.
So I seen where, and I'm not sure how close it is to Poplarville, but I seen where y'all are going to be at Laurel, Mississippi Fair.
Yes.
Okay, Laurel, Mississippi, a good friend of mine's a promoter there, also named Danny Raspberry.
Yeah.
Oh.
And but it's a great little place. I know y'all.
Great town.
I did my first year of junior college at a town right outside of Laurel in Ellisville. So we would go to Laurel for Walmart and stuff like that. And
Ron, she went there and the town ain't never been the same.
It ain't never been the same, has it? But I would say, okay, I always ask the artist this question, and I gotta ask y'all. So, what's your favorite song that y'all do?
ooh,
I think it changes like per
Yeah.
show or per day because like I feel like sometimes it doesn't matter what mood you're in. There's one of our songs that can like either pull you out of that mood or like let you wallow in it as much as you want to. But I don't know. Lately, American Pride has just been doing it for
Yeah.
me.
I was about to say American Pride. Then you got, you can have Jolene, but then you got, what was it? Country popularity, country pride.
Country Paradise.
Paradise. My mind's gonna blank on me today. But Country Paradise, I love that video, that song.
Yeah.
So somebody says you're one of the artists where somebody asked me what's my favorite song. I have not got a clue because I can't say because I say this one, then I say wait,
Look, I was
wait a minute, maybe it's just.
I,
Oh, wait a
I was
minute.
gonna say you could ask us tomorrow, and that joker, the answer would be different.
now
Look,
I have a song that we have that so the other night at the Opry, we kind of did like a tribute to all of the women in country music who paved the way. So the first song that we did was one of our original songs called Nearly Over You. And after we performed it, I forgot
Right.
how much I loved that daggone song because there's so many nods to Patsy Cline. And we love Patsy as well. And so if you get a chance, you go listen to that.
You have to go check out Nearly
I'll
Over
go
You.
check that out as soon as we get done here,
Look, I'll break your heart in the
Yes.
best way. I'm telling you.
and we're gonna I will definitely check that out. And I share music all the time on our Twitter because we
Yeah.
follow each other on Twitter. I don't know if you realize that.
Mhm. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I was gonna say
But,
we were just looking at some of your tweets today.
Yeah, we I mean, back when I started this, it was MySpace. Who remembers MySpace?
I tell people I caught the last 10 minutes of my space.
I really love the last
Right
10
there.
minutes of
But and then you talk about all the gadgets these days kids have. We were talking. I said we used to go out and make our own fun because we didn't know what Nintendos and game Xboxes and you didn't have
Right.
phones and all. We didn't want to answer the phone. Now
Like they used to tell us, go play outside.
yeah, lock the door on you. But
No, seriously, lock the door.
Right.
Can't come, ain't no in and out. Let
you ain't
all my
coming
good air.
out of here.
Not
All
happening.
the things.
But we appreciate y'all so much for being.
Thank y'all for having us, Ron.
We'll we're gonna be talking more in the future. So y'all keep doing what you're doing and again from this promoter's point of view, I think you're just what country music needs.
Thank
you so much.
Ron, do
One
not
last thing.
forget to go listen to that song and let us know what you think.
Nearly Over
Yeah.
You.
I will do that. Like I said, here shortly you'll see a tweet come out about
Right now.
so tell everybody before we leave where they can find Chapel Hart and merchandise and all that.
So you can find us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, farmersonly.com, plenty of fish, all that good stuff at Chapel Hart. And you can also find our scheduling, merch, music on our website at chapelhart.com. Our music can be found on all streaming platforms. We got some really cool videos on YouTube. Y'all haven't gotten a chance to check those out. So y'all go and find us so we can be friends with y'all. That was a mouthful.
She did pretty good. Look.
I think I covered all the bases.
I just seen recently, okay, I just got a message here, but where y'all were at the Cameo Theater in Bristol.
Yes, Bristol, Virginia.
Oh my God.
We had a love with
that
Bristol.
And let me tell you, Bristol showed up in a way that I don't even know if Chapel Hart was ready for. Oh my gosh, Bristol they went crazy. And even afterwards, we had meet and greet, and we were like, the line was about out the door, but everybody got hugs. Everybody got to say hello.
Yeah. I almost felt bad for the next couple of shows we had after because I was like, I don't think they're going to be able to bring it like Bristol did.
That is just an amazing little place. You got Bristol, Tennessee, Bristol, Virginia, and the Country Music Hall of Fame Museum. I mean, the birthplace of country music museum.
Yeah.
Right?
I told them next time we had to come a day early so we can really get a tour of the town.
If you ever get a chance to see the birthplace of country music, you would be amazed. It's where that's where country music started at. People don't realize, but I mean that's where Jimmy Rogers recorded supposedly the first country music. And in the 30s. I mean, it's amazing history that's there. And there's a place there, just so you know, you might mark down in your memory. It's called the Burger Bar. And the Burger Bar is where Hank Williams got his last meal.
Oh, wow.
We
like burgers.
They've got a You're Cheating Hart cheeseburger.
Oh, come on.
But they do. It's called the Burger Bar. It's there in Bristol, Virginia, and it's
got so many things to try next time we go.
Last meal, they say they don't think he ate it because he went to sleep. Before but it's an amazing history there in that town. So, but we want to say thank you again, and we look so forward to seeing y'all real soon.
We can't wait.
Y'all have a great day.
Ron, you better have us back, all right?
Yeah.
We will, and I'm going to check that song out right now.
All right, we'll be looking for you on Twitter.
Thank you.